Hello, my dear. My name is Viviana Barnwell, and I'm the founder of DEAR, Disability, Education, Accessibility, and Resources. And we are in the month of October, and October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And just to give you some data of how important awareness is when it comes to people with disabilities and employment, in 2023, the average annual employment rate for people with disabilities was 22.5%, while the rate for people without disabilities was 65.8%, which shows the big disparity. But I don't want to talk to you about data because we all can Google it. For me, it's more important that we hear from the people with disabilities, their experiences, and how things go in real life for them. For that reason, I have a very special guest. His name is Martin Slyngstad. Did I say it correctly? Yep. Okay. He is a very important local advocate. I tend not to use the word self-advocate. Someone educated me on that. They said when you say self-advocate, it looks like Martin is only advocating for himself, not for the whole community. So Martin and I met this year at a luncheon, legislative luncheon, and since then we have bumped into each other, I think, in every event that is possible to, that is local to us. So thank you, Martin, for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
Okay, so do you want to tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do? I'm very impressed by what you do, by the way, like
Thank
as
you.
a person, as a future professional, all that.
Thank you. Yeah. So a little more about me. I'm a man of many faces. I work in ABA. I run a business. I create music, and I'm also a book author. And it's honestly, it's great to do so many things, but some days it can be tiring for sure.
I can understand. And you're also going to school, right?
Yep. I'm also going to school. I have about 3 to 4 semesters left.
And what are you majoring in, or what's your...
My major is communicative disorders. So it would
Amazing.
be like speech pathology / audiology, stuff like that.
That's so amazing. So we're going to talk about employment, if you
Perfect.
don't mind.
Mhm.
And I want you to share with us what has been your experience as a person with disabilities finding a job, interviewing.
Mhm. I will admit, interviewing is such a tough process for someone like me because the ways that they word the questions makes it a little difficult to understand. And then you try so hard to bring up, or I tried so hard to bring up my disability, but I keep that quiet because I don't know if that would affect my chance at getting a job. And so still to this day, not a whole lot of coworkers knows about it, but I feel like if the interview process was a little more smoother per se, I don't know the correct word. I feel we could start seeing more people with disabilities get jobs. And like what I'm aiming for is to really help others feel comfortable sharing their diagnosis while also telling other companies like, hey, you know, yes, we do have disabilities, but we are hard workers. It's so important to know that we are hard workers, and when given the chance that we can achieve many great things.
And that's the biggest issue, right? It's
Yeah,
either people disclose and get the accommodations they need,
right.
or they disclose and they might put a target on themselves, because we know there's
Yeah,
still a lot of... society has a lot of misconceptions when it comes to individuals with disabilities.
yes.
So, and then, have you had a job with an employer? Or
Uh,
have you always been a business owner?
I with the job that I currently have, other than the business, I do work for somebody, and I will admit, I got the job because I shared, or the boss was a guest speaker at my graduation, and I told him a little about me and about, like, yeah, I'm autistic and everything. It was not easy to do, I will admit, because I didn't know how they would respond. Um, the tough part about it, the interview process and training were the most difficult, I would say. Like, some what were they? If I remember right, I had to go through 4 different interview processes, where I had to get interviewed 4
Yeah.
different times, and that kinda was really draining, and I wish that companies could kinda tone down the, all the times that we get interviewed, because it's like some of these people, they'll get us back for an interview, and the worst, I would say, the worst experience I had, um, I did a seasonal job at Guitar Center,
Okay.
but they had us do an interview in a group. So there's 12 of us, and having to answer in front of people was very intimidating for sure.
Okay, I understand completely. So I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yes.
Access to getting the job, the interview process is not disability friendly. It's very one size fits all. Once
Yeah.
you are in the job, what
Mhm.
have been the issues that you have faced as a person with disabilities? Once you
Uh,
are there to
right.
maintain the job, what have been like issues, if any?
uh, right. I would say one of the biggest issues I faced was getting some sort of accommodations, because I didn't know how to approach others at the job, and I also didn't know how to ask for help when I needed it the most. So that's to this day, I still struggle to ask for some accommodations, because I would get that feeling like I would let work down, or let the
Mm.
people that I work down, and I'm trying my best to kind of change that, kind of reach out and ask for accommodations, and because I know it'll be okay, but it's like I still get the fear of, like, what if they really don't support people with disabilities? So that's kind of why I've been a little hesitant, but I did have a solution for that.
What would be the solution? My kind of person
Yeah.
thinking about the solution.
So what I would do, I would talk to the boss wherever I work at, and I'm gonna tell him, like, hey, there's gonna be more people with disabilities that get these jobs. And a solution I would say is having a little quiet room for us. So if it gets really overwhelming, we could find a space to calm down, and when we're ready, we could get back to work.
And
It
I
just
think
we
that's so
just need that
important.
we just need that
Mhm.
accommodation to really help us get through the day.
That's amazing. And that's something that I see now in many events, but I think it should be everywhere. So when
Exactly.
the person is overloaded, it's too much, they have the time to go and breathe and relax.
Exactly.
Thank you, Martin. As a human being, as a person, without thinking about any labels, any diagnosis, what would be your dream job?
Oh, that's a good one. Other than owning a business, one of my dream jobs would be to work for this place called the Global Autism Project. So we go to different countries to help either set up events or help build schools and different places for those with disabilities, where they have where they don't have a lot of access. And there's actually, I might be sending in my application to do it. And they have one coming up in South America. And after doing my research, there's such a huge need to have more accessible places and have, like, some parents still don't understand it. And so I want to do something like that to really help get that family closer together, and while also helping those students get more accessibility, because it's hard to see. And I'm one of those people that want to either build a structure. I mean, like, here I build sensory rooms to help make places more accommodating for those with disabilities. And I'm also, but something like that, that would definitely be my dream job.
It's very interesting that you're talking about that because I don't know if you know, I'm originally from Colombia. That's in
Mhm.
South America. And
Okay.
I meet with a lot of parents that reach out to me, and the cultural perception is very different than here. So we need a lot of people embracing the fact that your child has a diagnosis. That doesn't mean the end of the world. That doesn't mean your child is going to be their whole life in certain situation. It doesn't mean even believing the prognosis. I know I read you were nonverbal.
Yes.
My son was nonverbal. Your
Mhm,
mom and I could have believed they are never gonna talk. Let's leave them in a corner. So
mhm,
it's important what you're talking about, going to other places where
mhm,
the view of disability, the view of autism is still few years back, and
mhm,
giving people a message of hope. The first time I met you, and every time I see you, because you're
mhm,
older than my child, I
mhm,
see you as a goal for me, for my son to get there where you are. And
mhm.
it's amazing that you're going out, showing your experience, sharing your experience with others.
Definitely. And I know we probably, um what was it? When I did my last week, I did my first ever solo trip on my own, which was definitely unique. And I was actually a guest speaker at this college autism summit in Ohio. And what really stood out to me, there was probably like 10 or 12 people, so it wasn't too packed in the room. But I talked about the keys to self-acceptance. And of course, there is technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to use my slides or anything. But just to kind of pass the time, since we had an hour, I asked people in the beginning, why did you specifically choose my topic? And what stood out to me the most is some of these college students with disabilities said that they didn't accept themselves for who they were, and so they wanted to hear it from somebody else to really help them push through and help them connect with themselves more. And that was probably one of the most impactful things that was said to me. And one of them said that during my speech, they got a little emotional because of how moving it was, and that it really helped them find new ways to help achieve self-acceptance. Because I know it's not easy sometimes, and I know I'm still working on myself, but I just felt I want to help others feel comfortable with even sharing their own stories. And that's kind of the other reason why I'm doing communication disorders, is to really help others who don't have that voice yet, and really help them get to that.
It's
To
an amazing, amazing, amazing mission and something great. What you're doing is great.
Yeah,
It's awesome, and we need more of you. We need more children growing up knowing that their diagnosis is part of who they are, but doesn't define where they are gonna
exactly.
get. So
Yeah.
that's great. What would you recommend to employers? And you already gave a really good solution, but if you have any others, employers in general, so more people with disabilities can have
Mhm,
jobs that
mhm,
support their qualifications and dreams. Because there's another thing in that number I gave at the beginning, the 22.5, many
mhm.
people are employed, but they can be college educated doing entry jobs at
Right.
supermarkets. And so what can we tell, or what can you tell people with employers regarding hiring people with disabilities?
To really give us a chance. I've actually, and I know I didn't say this earlier, but I've actually talked with different companies about um coworkers with disabilities, and some of them started hiring more, if I remember right. I'll have to look back at the email, but what I would tell them is we may be slow at first, but that is totally okay. Because for some, if we're slow, that just means that we're still trying to get used to the job and working around others, and that's totally okay. And to just have patience with us, because it's like there's going to be days where it'll be difficult from or difficult in general. And I want employers to know that we deserve to have a chance to show that we have what it takes to be wonderful employees, and to make the workplace more of or a more welcoming environment, so we're comfortable around others, because some of these places do tend to get a little uncomfortable because of the amount of stress that goes in some of these jobs.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. And that's good because we hear a lot about ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and many
Yeah.
employers think it's just putting the ramp or putting the accessible bathroom, but there are things that go beyond that requirement, right?
Yeah,
And in general, what would you tell society at large regarding people with disabilities in
we are,
general?
yeah, we are wonderful people, and when given the chance, we will show that we are intelligent, wonderful people, and that they're I was just thinking about it too. That just like we're wonderful people, and these times that we have meltdowns, we really don't mean to. It's just we just get overwhelmed sometimes, and it's like Mentos and Diet Coke. When you get like those Mentos in, it kind of, but that's because of all the masking that we have to do. And for society in general, I would love to be able to make it more to where we don't have to mask as much, and we could be ourselves without that fear of being judged or bullied in general, and just for society to accept us for who we are.
That is great, and that's a great message. And I think when you talk about so we don't have to mask, there's a lot of people with disabilities that I talk to, and they are always bringing up how they have to hide who
Yeah,
they are, how they have to hide their needs to make the rest of the world happy. And
right.
the rest of the world, unfortunately, will never be happy and will always be judging. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate all that you share with us. I don't know if you want to share anything else, but I do want you to share with people your name, the name of your business, and how they can contact you, because I know you're a seasoned presenter and
Mhm.
public speaker, and it's amazing what you do even with schools that you go and train staff and train the
Yeah.
students into how to interact with their classmates with autism or with disabilities. So share with us as much contact information as you are able to.
Definitely. I'm actually gonna put the links in the chat.
Okay, so then I'll put them on the video.
Yep.
That's amazing. What's the name of your company, Martin?
Spire Autism.
And what's the name of the book? I know you co-wrote it with your mom, right? You
Uh,
wrote it together.
So it's called Chatterbox: My Life with Autism, a Mother and Son's Perspective. And the neat thing about that is we took the most important subjects to talk about, and the link is actually in the on the website, but we talk other than talking about the most important topics, I share my perspectives of everything that goes with those chapters, and also my mom does, so you get both sides and not just one.
And I feel that's really important because sometimes we hear a lot of adults, autistic adults, that are against parent voices, but we
Yeah.
also hear a lot of parents that are not really fans of the messages that autistic adults give. And I think everybody's voice is important.
Right. I just wanted to share this really quick, this thing that I was able to in San Jose. I think I brought it up at the legislative luncheon, but this proclamation that I have created by the mayor, I kept in contact with him. It took about 6 months or so because I know he was just new to
The job.
new to the job, and so I told him, April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, and there really isn't a whole lot of awareness about it. And I sent him a letter with a draft of what it like, or a draft of the proclamation. And on the April 28th, I got a call back from the mayor's assistant, and they said, the mayor loved what what was said, and now here we are with the proclamation signed by the city of San Jose staff. And so every April we're going to start working on being more aware and
Mhm.
focus on helping the autism community out during the month of April.
Amazing. Thank you. And I also know that tomorrow is a special day because
Oh
you're
yeah.
getting.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. I shouldn't be, but it's like it's kind of funny how I do well talking to businesses and schools, but when it comes to other people, I get nervous.
But you're gonna do great. He's gonna receive a special award as their words, not mine, as their self advocate of the year. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Martin. And when people watch this video, I hope they leave a lot of messages for you. You
Thank you.
are an amazing man who's doing a lot for a community that needs a lot of voices, a lot of support, and a lot of people with the lived experience like you educating all of us. So I am very, very grateful. And I hope we can do one of these again in April and talk more about your life, how you, many parents are very curious about children who used to be nonverbal and how they became verbal and all those things. So we can do that in April if you don't mind, okay?
Definitely. And I got one more thing to say for people
Of
with
course.
for those with disabilities, just know that I actually have this quote, or this saying that was sent to me, um and it goes, for those who deal with anxiety like I do a lot, like almost daily. It goes, anxiety is not going to ask you to do that once. You're going to get knocked down again and again and again. And every time you try to come out of that, the mud's thicker. And every time that voice is telling you you can't get louder, it doesn't want to see, anxiety doesn't want to see you get higher beyond its reach, beyond its control, and beyond its grasp. So train your brain by listening to your heart.
Oh God, that's an amazing message. Thank you. Train your brain by listening to your heart. Thank you
Yep.
so much, Martin. I'll put all the links on top of the video so people can reach out to you. Thank you
Awesome.
for your time. Thank you for everything you're doing for our community. And I know in a couple of years, you're going to be nationwide doing more of the awesome things that you're doing. You're already traveling to other states, but I know
Mhm.
you're going to go international and all that because you're amazing and you're doing a lot of good work for the community.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you again for having me on.
no, and I hope people that see you reach out and invite you. You can go to schools. Those of you who are local, he goes to schools and trains the staff and the students on how to interact with children with disabilities. Those who follow me know that that has been a big issue with my son,
Mhm.
staff, and sometimes classmates, and we need more awareness. So that is something that is great that you're doing. So
Thank you.
thank you, everyone. I'll continue doing more interviews before the month ends. Remember, this is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It's October every year. We started with a really sad number. Only 22.5% of individuals with disabilities were employed in 2023.
Mhm.
My name is Viviana Barnwell, and I am the founder of DEAR, Disability, Education, Accessibility, and Resources. Thank you and see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.